Good morning. Today is a very important day. Today is the main event. I've not done particularly well in the main event. I have one cash in about 10 attempts or so. And I've made various mistakes. But I think the biggest mistake I've made is just going in there thinking that people don't care so much about their tournament life. And people care greatly about their tournament life. However, once a lot of people make it to the turn, I don't think they're folding very often. So my general strategy today is going to be to go in there and raise and re-raise a decent amount pre-flop, continuation bet the flop a lot, continuation bet the turn a lot, but probably not fire too many rivers. That said, if the board runs out scary and you think that the board's not good for them, clearly we're going to be firing. But I've busted a few times early, and it's often just because of being overly aggressive in spots that, you know, your opponent should be somewhat afraid, but at the end of the day, if they have a set, they're just never folding. And I'm not going to try to make people fold sets today.
Here on the first break, I've lost some chips. We've had a set. We had a set lose. That was no good. I had ace king lose. That was not good. I had kings lose. That was not good. But all my bluffs have gotten through. So clearly, I need to stop making good hands and just continue with the bluffs. Here we are at the end of the day. I was a lucky ducky. I won basically every pot. I made the best hand a lot, and I got lucky most of the time. Lots of people remaining. We resume on Tuesday. Tomorrow is the charity series of poker. And then there's a recovery day in there. So we're gonna relax and resume later. I have about 210,000. It's probably about 3 times average. That is lucky.
Nothing I do would matter if you guys didn't come out for these events. So it means the world to me that you're all here drinking and ready to gamble. So don't forget that there's a $1,000 bonus for the chip leader at the end of rebuys and for the person in for the most rebuys. Don't forget to gamble, and I will leave it to Savage from here. All right.
We are at the start of day 2. We are in the Miranda room. But all the day 2s are separate though, so we're not being combining into day 2 A and B. It's 2A and 2B. So I think we're gonna play with all these people today. We'll do our best to run hot. Faraz Jocker, there he is. You don't want to play with Faraz Jocker, take all your money. We finally made it to the Brasilia room. We're doing it. We're playing the World Series of Poker now. I played a huge hand with kings against queens where I got check raised all in on the turn. And luckily I won. Now I have a bunch of chips. Sure. Okay. Here I am on the first break. Take a look at the line for the bathroom. That's incredible, huh? First level of day 2 went amazingly well. I got caught bluffing right off the bat, and then I had a hand where I had ace-queen. I raised button, big blind calls, it comes ace-jack-9, 2 spades. And normally I would just continuation bet here, but I didn't like it. So check, check, flop, he bets the turn, I call, he bets the river, I call. He has ace-jack for 2 pairs, so that was a nice savings right off the bat. Then I played a ridiculous hand where early position, maybe even under the gun, maybe second position, raised to 2100 at 300, 600, so bigger than normal raise. Splashy guy called the hijack seat or something like that. I re-raised the cutoff with pocket kings to, let's say 6,800, I think. Yeah, that's right. Folds back around to the initial raiser. He makes it 16,800, so about 10,000 more. Splashy guy folds. I decided to just call because I didn't want to get it in for his 100K. It's close. It's close. So anyway, flop comes 10-4-4, 2 diamonds. He bets 16,000. I call. You don't love it. Turns now a 5 or something, a very offsuit blank card. He checks, and I have to decide here if I want to bet like 22K and then either bet or check behind the river depending, or if I want to just check behind and call any river bet. And I could see going both ways. I think most people just keep betting with their good hands here, like all their overpairs, so I thought it was against ace-king a lot. So I decided to bet 22,000 into a, I guess, 60-something thousand chip pot. And he instantly went all in for about 40,000 more. And I thought for a while, and I have had such poor luck with hands like aces and kings and queens in this tournament where I have just ran into it, right? And I was really close to folding. Then I realized I've been playing very crazy so far. I'd already tried to bluff this guy earlier, and he called me with like an underpair, basically. So everyone thinks I'm already a lunatic. So I decided to make the hero call. And he was really confident. He knew he won. He turned over pocket queens, and I won. And just like that, I got to about 270,000. I got moved to a new table where I've seen all sorts of ridiculous stuff. Multiple open limps. One guy checked min raise out of turn with nothing. So we're having a party at my new table, and I'm just gonna sit there and be a good patient boy and hopefully run it up. I'm currently the chip leader, which has never happened in my life. It's hard to be the chip leader. I'll try to maintain it. Here I am on the third break of the day, of day 2 of the World Series of Poker main events, and today has been wild. So I got moved to a new table, and it turns out 3 of the players are lunatics. Not just kind of crazy, but lunatics. They are 3-betting, 4-betting pre-flop, check min-raising the flop and showing stone air. It's been a lot of fun. But I haven't really won any pots. So I moved to the table with about 300,000, and I lost like literally every hand. One guy to my right, who is the most maniacal of the lunatics, he's beat me every single pot. He asked me after the last hand, excuse me, how do you win? Well, I guess the way I'm winning is I had aces against kings, against someone who didn't get the memo that I'm a nit and only go in with aces. But I'm at 260 or so, which is plenty of chips. The average is probably 80 or 90, so we're in great shape. Hopefully I stop losing every pot to the lunatics. But the stage is set. I've been battling with them a bit. It's a tongue twister. I have been battling with them a bit, and they probably think I'm tilting like crazy, but in reality, I'm perfectly fine and ready to get the chips. Here we are at the end of day 2. I have a nice 297,300. It was a crazy day. I battled with this kid all day. He got the best of me most of the time, mainly because he kept rivering me, but I won a few pots at the end of the day. And there's everyone else. A lot of the players at my table were crazy. That guy was a lot of fun. He was pretty tight, but fun. Anyway, 297 going into day 3. That is about as great as I could hope for.
Good morning. Today is day 3 of the main event of the World Series of Poker. I have 2 times average, We finally know how many people are left in all that business. About 1/3 of the field is gone, and I have 6 starting stacks. Therefore, I should have 3 starting stacks to be average, but I have 6, so we are 2 times average. That is 150 big blinds and plenty of chips. That said, they can go quickly if you play lots of pots, so I have to be careful. I'm starting in the pavilion room, which I imagine is the first room to break the tables. Probably, maybe not. So I'm thinking my table will get broken somewhat soon, probably within the first 4 or 6 hours of the day, which I guess is a pretty long time. And I looked over my table, and only one player had caches for more than like 100K or so that's a very good thing. And even then, a lot of his caches came from 5 or 6 years ago, mainly from winning 1 EPT. So that's a good thing to see. You don't want to show up at a table with lots of very good players who have tons of caches. You'd rather play with people who don't have very many caches. So anyway, it's a good thing. I always try to look into that before the tournament starts, so if I can go watch videos on the people, I can go do that, but really there's not a whole lot you can get at the World Series of Poker, because most of the people you were playing with are somewhat unknown. Yesterday I took it easy. Took it really easy. I had a little bit of work to do. I had to make a video explaining how I make quizzes on pokercoaching.com, because we're going to be hiring some additional coaches to make the quizzes, because that seems to be the most popular aspect of the site, and the #1 complaint we get is you don't upload quizzes often enough. Apparently the ones that I do, 2 per week, is not enough. And I realized that. So we're going to hire some other people who I've worked with in the past, who I think are very good poker coaches, to help make some quizzes as well. So I'll, of course, keep making my 2 per month, maybe even more, we'll see. And we'll be getting more quizzes coming in. So I had to make a video of how I make the quizzes so that they could then know how to go about making the quizzes, because it's not the easiest process in the world. And I hung out by the pool for a bit, which is something I basically never do, but I went out to have breakfast. Actually, I woke up, made that video, I went to the gym, saw the pool, thought, I should go sit by the pool. I came back to the room, showered, went to have lunch by the pool, then sat by the pool. I've been reading this book called Stories of Our Life, I think. Let me see if I can go find it for you. It's a book, it's a storybook. I don't read very many storybooks. Stories of Your Life and Others. I don't know if it's a good book or not. I don't know what makes a good fiction book. I'm enjoying it well enough. I actually like the first story better than the second 2, but that's as far as I am into it, about 100 pages or so I read that yesterday. That was nice. And I just took it easy. I don't do a whole lot of taking it easy. After the pool, I went and got a haircut because my hair was getting long, and maybe I'll get on a feature table on ESPN. And then I just watch poker videos all night in the room. Poker and Magic videos. I goof off and watch Magic the Gathering videos a little bit, but I also watch some poker videos. I really enjoy Sam Grafton's videos, so shout out to him. I watched lots of those last night, and then I went to sleep early, and I woke up at an hour or 2 before I was supposed to wake up, and now I am ready to go. I feel good. That said, every time I felt good, things have not gone so well, so maybe I need to have a few shots of whiskey and go run 7 miles. Then maybe I'd be ready to play.
I was given a banana this morning. That must be lucky. Here are the opponents. There's a lot of people at the Rio today. About 2,000 of them. Now I'm going to eat this banana and play some poker. The fire alarm's going off. No one cares. We'll just play some poker. Here we are on the second break. I got moved to a new table, and not much has gone right there. I got moved to the new table with about 400,000. I chipped up nicely from my previous table, despite running into it a few times. I actually had an overpair against a set, and I lost 1 flop bet. No, I'm sorry, 1 turn bet. And then I had queens against jacks, and he got a jack, but luckily he had only 10 big blinds. So that was good. I got moved to a new table. I had ace jack. I got 2 streets of value against ace 3. The river was a 3, and I checked behind, so I didn't lose any money. That was nice. I had ace king in a 3-bet pot, 3 ways against two opponents. So early position, loose aggressive guy raised. Someone in middle position called. I re-raised to 20K, and both players called. Flop comes king, queen, jack. I have ace king. They checked me, I bet 22,000, which I think I could either bet or check. Either one's fine. Both players called. Turn was a 4, goes check, check, check. River's a 6. Under the gun guy bet 150K into about a, I guess, 120K pot. Middle position player tanked and called, so that made my decision easy. I folded. I think I was going to fold. I was pretty sure I was going to fold if that player folded. Anyway, the under the gun player had ace-10 suited, so haven't been too lucky at the new table, but I'm not really losing much money when I'm behind, so that's nice. I have 310,000, a hair more than I started the day with, going to 1,500, 3,000 with a 500 ante. So we're at that 100 big blind level where we need to win some hands. That said, we have all the time in the world.
Faraz Jocker. There he is. You don't want to play with Faraz Jocker. Take all your money.
I'm sitting by a trash can because that's how I feel right now. Actually, I don't feel like I'm that bad in the dumps. Last level was rough. We're currently on dinner break. Again, All-American Dave watched Magic the Gathering videos by the trash can this time, because that's what we deserve sometimes. It's a tough level. I lost basically every hand to go from 250 to 150. Then I found myself all in a coin flip. Ace-King against pocket queens. Well, I wasn't all in. My opponent was all in for half my stack. I lost. It got me down to 25 big blinds. Then I found pocket aces. That's a pretty good hand. I raised from under the gun, or maybe second position. Cut off or button called, one of the two. Flop came 10, 9, 8, 2 spades. I checked. It's a good spot to check with everything. He bet, I called. Turn was a 5. I checked. He bet kind of big, and I went all in. He bet 20, and I made it 50 all in. He called with 10, 7, and I held. So that put me back up to 150. Then I ran a bit too optimistic of a bluff. I posted it on Share My Pair, you can see that there. It worked to get up to 200, then I got moved to a new table, and I have Faraz Jocker on my left, very good player, and he's very aggressive. And last hand before the break, folds me on the button, I raise, small blind calls, and he 3-bets. And I had 8-5 suited, that's not a very good hand. So I put it in the dumpster. However, I could easily foresee a future coming up very soon where I have something like Ace-Jack, I find myself all in a similar spot, and hopefully I will not lose. So we're down to about 1,400 players and 1,100 get money. And it may sound like we're very close to getting in the money, but we're actually not. It's going to take probably about 4 or 5 more hours in my opinion. And it means we got to win some hands. 170K is a nice stack, but it's nowhere near in the money. And I certainly don't want to be in a spot where I'm getting pushed around on the money. I want to be the one pushing around on the money. And to do that, you have to get holes and chips. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Although, worst case scenario, if I have to sneak in the money with a 130K stack, I guess it is what it is. But that's not really what you want, especially when there's still a long way to go once you get in the money. So I'm going to try to win the tournament. But if I don't win the tournament, maybe I'll try to get a cash.
So, I busted the main event. That is quite depressing. I think maybe 1,200 people remained, 1,300 people remained, something like that. And I had Ace-Queen under the gun, a pretty good hand. I raised to 9,000 out of my about 150,000, maybe 160,000 stack. Folds to the cutoff, who puts in 11,000. He did not know that I raised, so he had to call. Worth mentioning, this player had been on the tighter side, but he has put in quite a few big bets on the turns and rivers so far. And also, he just lost a decent sized pot to Faraz Jocker, where Faraz got in, I think, a turn and a river value bet with top pair, top kicker. So the guy looked annoyed, and he, misclick called. So I don't exactly know what that means, but I think it definitely makes his range weaker than normal. However, the blinds folded, and it came 6-6-4.
which actually connects kind of well with a wider range, right? Like whenever I raise from early position and he calls, he should basically never, or very rarely, have a six in his hand, right? He should probably just fold ace-6 suited, and 6-5 suited is even close, so he shouldn't have very many nuts normally, but here he actually does have some nuts, so that's a bit unfortunate. I continuation bet 10,000 into the 30,000 pot, and he thought for a while, then called. Turn was a 7, and I checked, and he bet 20k, and I kind of got the vibe that he didn't like his hand, but who really knows, right? I thought this was a spot where he may float pretty wide on the flop, and then stab at the turn, which I think would be a very obvious play with like Jack 10 with a backdoor flush draw or something like that. So I think folding here would be fine with the ace queen, but I decided to call. I don't know if that's a good play or not. I imagine it's probably fine to just fold, but seemed okay. River's an ace. Thank you, dealer. I checked. The opponent goes all in for about 1.5 times pot. Well, let's think about this. The pot was 10, 20, 30, 40. So we both in 40. So pot was 80k, and he shoved for, I guess, about 100, 110, 120. And I really didn't like this spot. I thought in his mind my hand looked a lot like either ace king or ace queen. I had ace queen. I don't know if I mentioned that. I had ace queen, or a hand like 10s, 9s, 8s, maybe a hand like 8-7, maybe a hand like 9-7 suited versions. So would this person ever try to make me fold? He had more chips than me, which is worth mentioning. If he lost, I think he'd have about 100k left, so not a gigantic stack to where he could just put me in, no problem, thinking I was fearing the bubble or whatever. I really don't know if I'm supposed to call or not. I think I let the fact that he just paid off Faraz make me think he was lighter than normal or maybe frustrated. And I've also found that whenever people misclick call before the flop, sometimes they get a little bit frustrated, and that often leads to them bluffing off. However, it is the main event against a random guy, so maybe they're just never bluffing. I decided to call. He shows up with 8-5 for a flop to gut shot, and he turned the gut shot. So that's pretty annoying. Clearly, if the ace or the ace doesn't come on the river, an ace or a queen, I don't pay off. It's one of those spots where he got the perfect turn card, and I got the perfect river card. And when that happens, I go broke. And even then, I'm not sure if I was supposed to go broke. So that's the end of my run. That is a hell of a disappointment. The main event's basically the one tournament of the year where you actually can get decently set for life. And I wasn't even that close in reality. It feels like I was close because I had such a good day 1, a reasonably good day 2, but today was just rough. I lost, I think, 3 flips today, and I had lost 1 flip yesterday. I didn't win any flips. So, 0 for 4 in those. I was lucky when I held against a flush draw on day 1 when I had the nuts, and today I held against a pair and a straight draw, so that was lucky. So I can't say I wasn't a little bit lucky. I had to fade a 20%er and maybe 2 20%ers. Sure is rough. It feels bad to bust the main event. It feels worse to bust the main event now that I have a family and you feel almost obligated to provide. Because when it's just you, or I guess just you and your wife, my wife will be fine, everything will work out. But whenever you have a baby, you start thinking differently. Doesn't mean I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to sneak in for a min cash or anything like that. Anyway, enough rambling, enough being sad. Tomorrow is the Bellagio Cup, $10,000 buy-in tournaments. Should be a good one. It's always a good one. I'm going to show up probably on time. Actually, I'm just going to sleep until I wake up. But it's only like 9:30, so I'll probably go to sleep at about 11 or 12 and then wake up at 10 or 11. Head over to Bellagio and try to win the second chance $10,000 buy-in tournament. It's always a good one. A lot of people rebuy a ton. I'm probably not going to go off in it. I'm not going to lie. But you never know.